First off, I want to say all praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the brothers in the highways and byways pushing this word in all sincerity and truth, the sisters, the believers, the helps, shalom. This is the brother Arawam from the James Jamaica camp, and just want to do a short lesson, right, based upon basically based on the experience and also based on something that I recently read, right, and basically the basis of this lesson is that hey, the Lord won't give you that basically the Lord knows what you can manage, right? The Lord knows what will actually turn your heart, right? Sometimes we in this truth and we go through things are like we think that we see easier ways out, right? And the Lord actually put us in a situation that looks somewhat like you're at a disadvantage, right? Or puts you in a situation where it's like you're like, why does this have to be the way? Like it looks more difficult. It looks more to the side that you're not getting through, right? And then in the last bit or in the end, it comes out that hey, because of that route, that is why you were able to get out of the situation, and that was exactly what fixed the situation, right? And we don't want to be like the children of Israel, right, in the wilderness, or not in the wilderness, but when they got let out of Egypt, right? We have to pray that Lord don't give us that mindset. All right, I'm going to pull this the example of this from the book of Exodus, starting at chapter 13, verse let's start at 17. And it came to pass when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was nearer, right? So imagine that, the Lord actually, the scripture tell that they walked in the wilderness for 40 years, right? And also as it go as we go into the next chapter, it see like them in a perilous state, right? So He never lead them through the nearer way. It says, for God said, least peradventure the people repent when they see war, and they return to Egypt. But God led the people but God led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up earnest out of the land of Egypt. So you see that, right? They at that time the army wasn't although the scripture tells that we came up with our armies, right? The army wasn't actually set up until the book of Numbers. That was after we passed through the Red Sea. Then the Lord basically set up rank and file and everything, right? The priesthood, the tribes, and who go to the east, north, west, the whole works, right? But they tell you that the reason why I didn't send them that way, because they would see war, right? Because the Philistines, they're coming out of Egypt, they were in a vulnerable state where they could get attacked, and basically the Lord know that if that was the case, then their hearts would feel and they would actually want to turn back into Egypt, when the whole aim and the goal was to get them in the land of Canaan, right? To actually deliver them, to actually give them a land. So that would actually break their faith, right? And ultimately, the Lord actually had His way how He wanted to do it, which was through the Red Sea. But just to put some context in regards to the lesson, right? Now, going to verse 14, right? Yes, verse 14, verse 1, it says, and Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel that they turn and encamp before Pihariot, between Migdol and the sea, over against Baal-zephon, before it shall he encamp by the sea. So you see, right there and then the Lord put them against the sea. So it'll be like them cornered, For Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, they are entangled in the land, and the wilderness had shut them in. I will harden Pharaoh's heart, that he shall follow after them, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon all his hosts, and the Egyptians, that the Egyptians may know that I am Yahweh. And they did so. So the most I put the children of Israel in what seemed as if what seemed like a perilous situation, right? Like basically that they got cornered, right? So that is it. Hey, that's what we're saying every day, and even in the days to come, right? In a time of Jacob's trouble, that we might see the way we're going into some situation where you just have to have faith in the Lord. So even though it look gloomy or perilous, right? the way are so easy and you're gonna make it out. The Lord will deliver you out, and the Lord bring you through that path for a reason, right? And He must show you that now upon a smaller level in our everyday lives and our everyday situations, right? Now, it went on to show that the Pharaoh basically decided to go after Egypt, as it said in chapter 1 to 3, right? Now let's see how the children of Israel reacted. Verse 10, and when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried out unto Yahweh, and they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us to carry us forth out of Egypt? So right there and then, hey, them start get disgruntled because the situation start look scary, right? But ultimately, they should just relax and trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? But as I say, there was an easier way out, but the Lord never bring that route, as that would have actually to make them want to go back in Egypt. And as I say right here, even this perilous thing made them want to go back in Egypt, because it seemed as if they were cornered. Right, verse 12, and is not this the word that we did tell you tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. Hey, that does Jake right there and then, right? That does Jake. But hey, all in all, show that look, hey, the Lord set it up perfectly, right? Verse 15, and Yahweh said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward, right? And remember, this is them going through the sea. But lift up thy rod and stretch out thine hand over the sea and divide it, and the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. So no matter how perilous it look, there's always a way out, because what? The hand of the Lord is not short that it cannot deliver, and there's nothing impossible with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Right? You just have to just tough it out, have faith, and knowing that look, the Lord got you even unto the end, even when your back seemed to be against the wall. And you have brothers must have testimony of times where them feel like things about to get way out of hand, and the Lord just do a simple thing and then just get delivered like that. Boom. Just like that, they got delivered. Right? And behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them, and I will get me honor upon Pharaoh, and upon all the host, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. Right? And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. Right? Basically, jumping down to verse 21, and Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahweh caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and their waters were divided. So you see that? The Lord give them, hey, in the midst of the sea you have dry land. See that? There's no easy passage, yo. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left hand. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them in the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. Right? And as you know, the story go on to say that the Lord basically closed the because this is the ultimate reason why the Lord did it, yo. Right, to actually slay start of God, verse 27. Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its strength when the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and the Lord and Yahweh overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea, and the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the hosts of Pharaoh that came in the sea after them, but there remained not so much as one of them. But Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right and on their left. And thus Yahweh saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. And Israel saw the great work which Yahweh did upon the Egyptians, and the people feared Yahweh and believed Yahweh and his servant Moses. So that in all, be all is the moral of the story is that, hey, even when you're back against the wall, right, you might feel like, say, oh, there's no way out, but the Lord basically will get glorified. And when the Lord bring you, as you say, even with them small situations here, you make your praise how about Hashem Yahshai, because I wonder how that get done, yo. Out of nowhere you get delivered. Well, from your how about Hashem Yahshai, but, to you, you're like, hey, me never see this coming, because it looks so perilous, right? And just I'll bring out the final scripture, which is from the New Testament, which is 1 Corinthians 10, or is it 2 Corinthians 10? Let me confirm. Right, 1 Corinthians 10, starting let's start at verse 9. It says, neither let us tempt Hamashiach, as some of them also did, and were destroyed of serpents. Verse 1, Salakia. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and were baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea. Right? And all did eat of that same spiritual meat, and drink of that same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Hamashiach. Right? And with many of them God was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Right? Because why? Now these things were in samples that to the intent we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted, neither be idolaters as some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up and play. Neither let us commit fornication, of some of them committed and fell in one day 23,000. Neither let us tempt Hamashiach, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer. Now all these things happen unto them for ensamples, that they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. Right? So that's the whole thing. Right? All these things, and it was basically because of them unbelief. Right? And at the time they also got carnal away, the point where them not remember the things where Yahweh doing in Egypt, because even there at the sea when them say there was no graves in Egypt. Right? What about all of the plagues where the Lord bring upon Egypt, and all of the signs and wonders where the Lord doing in Egypt by Moses and right? But yet them start thinking about them flesh, them start thinking about them life. Right? Them basically get carnal, yo. It seems so at the time to come, you can't get carnal and forget the Lord, and basically you start complaining or you murmur, or you basically become faithless, yo. You see me, you start to doubt and basically not trusting in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Right? Verse 12, wherefore let him that think he standeth take heed lest he fall. There are no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. And that is the thing, right? The reason why I never bring them the easier way, them would have basically give up. So that them would be able to bear that, even though the way was nearer, even though it was an easier walk. But guess what? In bringing them through to them box to the sea, and guess what? Even though that seemed as a perilous way, he actually gave them a way to escape. Right? So that is the thing, yo. Even right now, I would say, hey, I hope this is edifying. I hope this is getting through to brothers. Hey, at all times trusting in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, because you might see like you go and it might seem perilous. It's not as perilous as I think, yo. And if it is as perilous as I think, the Lord always have a way out for you. Right? So you need to learn from the children of Israel in this example, as they are written for admonition, as this precept said. Hope this wasn't too lengthy. Hope this was edifying. Once more, all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Hashem Rakak. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the brothers in the highways and byways pushing this word now, sincerity and truth, the sisters, the believers, the helps. Shalom.